Hi, my name is Daniel Tripp, and I'm a certified financial planner, and I'm an alumni of Golden Gate University.
My name is Renee Betts, and I am your certifying officer.
My name is Mark Singer. I'm Dean of the School of Undergraduate Studies at Golden Gate University. I've been with GGU for about 2.5 years now.
My name is Mike Kopersky, and I'm the Director of Business Services, Facilities, and Administration for Golden Gate University. And I've been at GGU for a little over 30 years.
My name is Gabriela de la Vega, and I'm the Director of our Student Financial Services Department. I have been with Golden Gate for 16 years.
My name is Nathan Johnson. I'm an adjunct instructor at Golden Gate University. I've been a part of this school since 2017.
My name is Ontario Washington, and I'm a student at Golden Gate University.
My name is Shubit Johannes, and I'm the Assistant Dean of Business Innovation and Technology at the Agino School of Business. I'm also an adjunct professor in the analytics programs. And I'm also an alumna of Golden Gate University with a graduate degree from the Business Analytics program.
So I joined the United States Air Force in 2005 as an enlisted member. I became an officer in 2008. I served in the Air National Guard, the Air Force Reserves, and the Active Duty Air Force. I'm a veteran of Operation Enduring Freedom, and I became an intelligence officer, attaining the rank of captain before I left in 2018. So I had a 12 or 13-year career before I decided to transition out of the military fully and pursue a civilian career.
Well, I'm a Navy brat. My dad served for the U.S. Navy, and I have cousins that have served and currently have one cousin that is still serving.
Right. So I don't really have any personal connection to the military. I had an uncle who served in Vietnam, but that was a while ago. But I will say I've worked with active duty military service members and veterans for many years in my work. I've always focused on adult and non-traditional students.
Prior to coming to Golden Gate, I spent 20 years on active duty. I was in the U.S. Air Force, and most of my active duty time was spent working in the missile field, both strategic and tactical missiles.
I served in the Marine Corps for 4 years. I joined in 1999, 2 weeks out of high school. I was stationed at Camp Pendleton as an intelligence analyst. After 9/11, I spent my last 2 years overseas with tours in Pakistan and tour in Iraq during the invasion. I've been honorably discharged since August of 2003.
So I am currently serving in the United States Army Reserves, 19 years so far.
I joined the U.S. Army just after 9/11 and served 6 years, both abroad and domestic.
I think military members bring a unique perspective to the classroom and set of experiences and work ethic, which I think adds a diverse voice to the Golden Gate University community.
I absolutely love working and serving our military students. They have a strong work ethic, and they are the most polite and respectful students that we work with.
So I found that military students have been really resourceful, hardworking. They bring questions to the table that require answers, and they change the conversation, which I think really benefits all students.
I don't often have a chance to work with our students, but on those occasions when I have been able to work with the students, I've been impressed by a couple of things. First of all, just the overall willingness to lead, to manage, to do what needs to be done to either get the class assignment done or the special project, or to help out wherever help may be needed. And then coupled with just the organizational skills and the individual's ability to make things happen and to have an approach that will allow them to succeed. And then finally, I've always been impressed by the communication skills. And I think, for those of us that have been in the military, these are traits that we recognize in most individuals, the ability to lead, the ability to manage, the ability to communicate, the ability to organize, and the ability to get the job done.
Over my tenure at Golden Gate, I've remained inspired by the commitment our veterans and their families demonstrate with achieving their educational goals to either further or start a new career outside of the military.
I think student veterans at Golden Gate University display two things. One is that they have a lot of real world life experience and they come as very serious students. They're ready to learn, accomplish their academic goals, and move on to that great job. The other thing is that they are seeking camaraderie and friendship and connection with other veterans. So when they see other veterans in the classroom, they make an effort to seek out those other veterans and connect with them. Many of those turn out to be friendships.
So in my experience as a Veterans Ambassador at GGU, I've noticed that military students are particularly determined when they have a goal that they want to reach. They seek the information necessary to reach that goal, and they usually do so relentlessly.
What I love about the veterans at Golden Gate University is that there's a sense of community, some sort of camaraderie and closeness that you don't come by often. If I had a professional issue or a personal issue, someone always had my back, no questions asked. And that was a great feeling to sort of have and know that someone's always there to help. And on the instructor side, I love how my veteran students are always willing to lead the discussion, no questions asked as well. That not only helps me as an instructor move the conversation along, but it helps other students sort of come out of their shell a little more quickly than they would have because they see others doing so. And I just love how it creates another sense of community in my classroom. So.
Hey everyone, welcome back to day 3 of the launch of the Helen Diller Center for U.S. Military Veterans at Golden Gate University. For those of you who are new to the show, yesterday we took some time to talk about the current student experience at Golden Gate. Wednesday we spent some time talking about Golden Gate's rich history with military and veteran community. If you missed those, don't worry. It's all online on the military.ggu.edu website. So please go ahead and check those out. Today, we're excited to talk about the launch of the next chapter of services to student veterans at Golden Gate. For those joining us live, please jump into the chat. Tell us a bit about your military experience, your journey to GGU, as we have this discussion about the new services and the folks that made those services possible, which will be coming up on a panel. As we designed the launch of the new Center for Veteran Services, we had detailed discussions with current and former students about what they want to see from GGU. We listened and have plans to roll out or help improve veteran services across all those key areas. Now, luckily, as we unveil these services, we know we also have some dedicated faculty and staff ready to serve. You heard many of their stories over the last couple of days, and those are just a small portion of faculty that have connections to the military. And even for those who don't, what we found is that everyone's standing ready to support the veteran community. So here's where we are. We've got great things coming. Today, we're happy to be wrapping up these launch events. But as you can see, there's a whole host of steps to come in terms of the services we're going to roll out for student veterans and the military community at Golden Gate. Over the next few weeks, we'll be rolling out a lot of media and engagement events. This is a small portion and introduction to some of the stories that are out there, so we hope you'll join us for those events. We're happy to be telling your stories and looking to tell more. If you want to see, right, we have a lot of feedback loops here to solicit information. We want you to tell us your stories. So reach out to the addresses here and tell us about your connection to Golden Gate and anything that you might want us to know as we embark on this new adventure. Also, happy to announce that today we just opened up the Golden Gate University Facebook group, the military Facebook group. It's so new, I don't know where to point to it on the page, but if you look somewhere around here, there's a link. So please, if you're a Facebook person, go ahead and join the group and join that discussion as well. And for now, as we go through today's panels and discussions, please jump into the chat and tell us about your experiences. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jason Dempsey. I'm happy to be with you again here today as we talk more about the future of the military community at Golden Gate University. It'd be hard to imagine two folks who are better positioned to help us talk about that than the two guests that are joining me for this short discussion. With us today, we have Catherine Webster. Catherine is the CEO and founder of Vets in Tech, a nonprofit that supports our current and returning veterans with education, employment, and entrepreneurship programs, and by connecting them to the national technology ecosystem. Catherine's been at this for a while, and under her leadership, Vets in Tech has grown to over 20 veteran-led chapters across the U.S. and gained support from more than 50 top tech companies to hire and train our veterans, military spouses, and active duty service members. So welcome, Catherine. We're also joined today, appropriately, by Ikram Mansouri. Ikram is an Army combat veteran. She also happens to be a Golden Gate University doctoral student. She's an entrepreneur and a member of the San Francisco Veterans Affairs Commission. And so welcome both of you to this conversation. This is a nice segue, as the last couple of days we've talked about GGU's past with military connected students, what it's doing currently, and now we get to talk a little bit about both the potential and the future for military students at Golden Gate University. I'd like to start today a little bit with Ikram. Could you just tell us a little bit about, you wear a lot of hats, so could you tell us a little bit about your journey to Golden Gate University?
Absolutely, and I think of it as a simple journey, really. I am a San Franciscan, raised San Franciscan. I went to Mission High School. My master's was with University of San Francisco, and my brother attended, currently is still attending GGU. So, and GGU is like probably the only university that offers a DBA in the area, if not in the country. So I feel very fortunate to have been accepted to pursue my terminal degree here. So, and it's right in the backyard of clearly Silicon Valley, San Francisco, innovation hub, veterans, you name it. So it's definitely a dream school for me, especially for a DBA.
That's great. And was there something, did you know you wanted to do this, pursue this kind of education when you were in the Army, or is this something you came across later as your plans developed?
No, I definitely have been planning on pursuing a doctoral program. I initially started with a strategic intelligence PhD, but that was not ideal given that it was all the way in DC and a completely separate focus. Then I was introduced to a DBA, and a DBA is really more practical and more of what I would like to do. So given that you come up with a theory, then like you apply it in the space of business, is something that I later found out that aligns more with what I'm trying to do.
That's great. And I think it's, it resonates a lot with the way people talk about Golden Gate and why it seems to be appealing for a lot of veterans. And that's the practical nature of it, right? It's the goal-oriented education. And so it's appropriate too today that, for somebody like yourself who is looking at the business world from a very practical standpoint, and you're trying to use your education at Golden Gate to advance your objectives, that we're joined here by Catherine Webster, who I know Ikram knows well and works with. Catherine, can you tell us a little bit more about Vets in Tech, and particularly what led you to start this organization?
Yeah, sure. So I've been in tech all of my life, and I was in 2012 running Tech Central SF, and we had we were part of Women in Tech and Girls in Tech, and even helped launch Teens in Tech. But coming from a military family, looking at my father's picture, I went, why aren't we doing anything for the veterans? And so I went to Craig Newmark, you may know from Craigslist, who is now my co-founder, and said, I'd love to do a hackathon and bring the tech community in to support the veterans. So we did this over a weekend in March 2012, and it was so popular with the veterans, they said, please do more of this. And so Vets in Tech was born out of that, and here we are, 9 years later. We focus on education, employment, and entrepreneurship, and we're in over 20 chapters now and 50,000 strong in our community.
That's really fantastic. And, all the work that you've done over the course of these 8 years, what have you learned really about the role that education plays, and how can institutions like Golden Gate help veterans who are moving from the military but think, okay, I want to jump into the tech world, but it's this really foreign thing. What's the role of school in helping them figure out that pathway?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. I've gone on to a few college campuses here in the Bay Area, and I ask the students who is studying for a career in tech, and not a lot of hands went up, which really surprised me for being here in the Bay Area. And they do say they're studying in healthcare or finance or retail or marketing and so on. But when we describe the opportunities in all those industries, and what the tech trends are, by the time I leave, almost everybody's studying in tech. And it's just the biggest discovery I had was understanding the lack of understanding of our veterans that they can have a career in tech. And so what we really try to do is demystify tech for student veterans and also bridge that gap with the tech community here.
Now, Ikram, I understand that you also do some work with Vets in Tech. How did you find the organization, and how do you use it in conjunction with the pursuit of your degree at Golden Gate to try to map your path forward?
Absolutely. I think initially I was introduced to the community as a veteran in tech. And then shortly after, I realized the platform that Vets in Tech provides and the areas of focus such as like women, Vets in Tech, and then we have the entrepreneurship ecosystem that we just launched not long ago, Startup Network, SUN, along with other programs like Student Vets in Tech and so on. So I realized that there is room to not only expand on current services, but use Vets in Tech as a platform to voice veterans' needs, and B, push it out on a larger scale nationally. I'm very grateful to have Catherine entrusted me to run such programs with her, alongside with her, along with my brother as well. And we continue to figure out like what other areas we can cover, what other areas we can bridge the gap, including policy. So we are so far away from reaching our goals. And at the very least, we do have this platform to do that. As for in conjunction with GGU, I'm actually using my degree to the max. So one is just the amazing staff, my professors, and they understand my background and like my passions around building this entrepreneurship ecosystem, and they're more than ecstatic to support, for example, some of the homeworks I do in the research, regressions and data analysis and so on. It's all around veterans. Some of the peer-reviewed articles that I'm writing will be around veteran entrepreneurship and so on, and policy in the space. So it's extremely handy. It's given me additional tools on top of like my entrepreneurial background to come at it from a completely separate angle. And for that, I'm beyond grateful.
That's great. And so Catherine, how do you integrate not only serving veterans as part of Vets in Tech, but how do you integrate them into your organization? How does that dynamic work, and what do you learn from the veterans like Ikram who come to help kind of run some of Vets in Tech programs?
Yeah, I'm so lucky to have Ikram and Abdul as part of my team, as well as two others at least in our leadership, and across our board. But it's just amazing the perspective that they bring to our organization. But it is also what I communicate to all of our employers about what these veterans bring to any organization, with the leadership skills, the communication skills, ability to work as a, the teamwork, ability to work across cultures, and just the work ethic. And so I just love having them as part of my team for the diversity they bring to the table, to give me guidance in areas of veterans' backgrounds that we need to consider, and the challenges that they all face going through transition. So very, very valuable members of my team.
Okay. Well, it's great that you guys have found such a cool relationship. We're in the heart of San Francisco. It is the world's tech hub, and we have this great resource with Golden Gate University and the hundreds upon hundreds of veterans who pass through Golden Gate every year. So I guess now we're launching the Helen Diller Center for veterans of U.S. military service at Golden Gate. And we've got a little bit of a blank slate. So I'm going to let you guys kind of lay out what your wish list would be. What would you like to see in terms of what Golden Gate can do in terms of integrating the veteran community and the richness that is kind of San Francisco and its opportunities? David Fike is listening.
Okay. All right, I'll go ahead. Well, one thing, of course, I'm going to say, join Vets in Tech. I mean, as far as helping, let us help, with that bridging to the tech community. As far as your pathways go, we're going to have a lot more in technology courses, and we'd love to come onto campus and just talk with the veterans and lead some joint sessions possibly. And in guiding veterans into tech careers and tech pathways, one thing we always say is your network is your net worth. And so build not only your past military network, but build the network in the tech community. Look at LinkedIn, look at the jobs that you're interested in, and look at what skills are required. And if you aren't studying and getting them at school, we can help augment those with the great work that GGU is already doing.
That's great thoughts. All right, Ikram, last word is yours. What do you hope to see from GGU in the next couple of years?
As a student, as a GGU student, what I would like to see is a hub, a community where it provides a safe place to come with any sort of question from a veteran, anywhere from like, I'm not sure about which program to do, how do I integrate myself into communities like Vets in Tech, what's going on with my benefit, just providing a safe space for that area. And it's just a means of communicating and having this open space to come and go any day, anytime. As a commissioner, city and county commissioner, I would love for GGU to work in partnership with other organizations, nonprofits, along with the VA, the CVSO, and other services to then provide better outputs, better outcomes, and kind of drive the policy, drive additional things to ensure that we're serving the veteran community to our best capabilities. And the other part of being a Vets in Tech leader in the space of entrepreneurship, I absolutely would want GGU to partake in everything that we do. So we run quarterly, monthly events, DEI and demystifying tech and women entrepreneurship and women empowerment, and the list goes on. So just by partaking in such community, it opens up other means, other doors to, hey, maybe I should go into a data science program, or maybe I should just go ahead and do this other program or test out the waters and figure out where I need to be. So awareness, right, from that point. And I would leave you with that.
No, it's a great charge, a great mission. I think both of you kind of appropriately highlighted, the unique role that education plays not in dictating where a veteran should go, but in offering up the opportunities and an understanding of all the various pathways that a veteran of any age can take as they move from the military to a civilian career, whether it's tech or otherwise. So thank you both for sharing your vision. I think that as we build out these new services, we will certainly want to take advantage of the hard work that many of you have already done to make the Golden Gate and San Francisco community a welcoming place for veterans. So to both of you, thank you for your continued service to the veteran community, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think if you're a transitioning military member or a former military member, or you're currently in the active duty, National Guard, or reserves, and you're looking for an opportunity to move into the civilian sector, I think Golden Gate University offers that opportunity. It's a place where you can learn hands-on training, you can meet different people, you can network with other professionals in your desired career field. It's really a place where you can kind of set your own destiny. If you work hard, you're going to find that it's a place that can transition you from one life, the military, to another, which is the civilian sector. So.
Remember to stay focused on your goals. And when you have questions, please reach out. So remember, we are all here to help you succeed in this life after service as a civilian.
Well, listen, I really want to wish you well on your journey coming through Golden Gate University. If you're used to the kind of level of work and the expectations that they put on you while you were serving in the military, you'll find that the rules are different with us, but this won't be as big a challenge for you as you think. We're really designed to serve folks like you who are coming from non-traditional backgrounds. We will do our best to help you ease your transition, as you're already finding out, I'm hoping. And our military students have a higher graduation rate than our non-military. So you should know that you've already got a lot of what it takes to do this. And then at the end, the payoff is great. You'll be able to use the tools and the skills you acquired in the military, connect those to what we do here at GGU, and really go on and do well. You'll succeed.
My biggest piece of advice is to never forget to ask for help when you need it. And even if you don't need it, even if you just want to talk and find out how things are going, not only within the university or your class or a program you might be interested in, but you just want to chat about your military experience with somebody else who's been there. As you probably know by now, there are lots of veterans at Golden Gate, students, alum, current faculty, staff, and we're all here to help in one way or another. So don't be afraid to reach out. If you're concerned about any particular area, there's always somebody here that is willing to talk to you, and if not give you the exact answer you need, at least get you pointed in the right direction. So ask for help.
Golden Gate is committed to making sure that every student succeeds. So if ever you have a question and you don't know who to ask, feel free to reach out to me. Welcome to Golden Gate and the Diller Center. I look forward to meeting each and every single one of you.
But my words of encouragement are, you've handled something more difficult than this in the past. Your military experience took you likely places all over the nation or possibly all over the world, and put you in front of challenges that you have never seen before. School's not anything different than that. If you've handled your military experience, you can handle school.
For military students at GGU, you guys got this.
First, I'd like to say congratulations for taking that initial step towards continuing your education. As someone who earned her bachelor's degree at age 30, I understand some of the questions that may be running through your mind, such as, is it too late? Is it too difficult? The answers are, it's not, and it's not. But on those days that you truly feel it is, I'm here to support you. The Diller Center is here to support you. Golden Gate University is here to support you.
We've had a few days of some great discussions about the new Helen Diller Center for U.S. Military Veterans at Golden Gate University. Over the last couple of days, you've heard stories primarily about the past and about all the great alumni, military veterans who have found their way through GGU and gone on to bigger and better things. And then yesterday, you heard about a lot of the very interesting initiatives and a lot of the great work that Golden Gate University has underway to support the military community. Today, obviously, we're looking at the future of Golden Gate University, and this, our last group conversation for the launch of the Helen Diller Center, is very appropriate because what we have today are representatives who are key not only to the past and the historical legacy of Golden Gate University, but are also playing a very large role in making sure that the legacy of service to military veterans and their families continues into the future. Today we have Richard Rosenberg, Phyllis Cook, and David Fike joining us. All of you know or should know already Dr. David Fike, president of Golden Gate University. But we're also happy today to be joined by Richard Rosenberg, a graduate of Golden Gate and somebody who's played a very important role in ensuring that Golden Gate has continued to grow even from the time that he graduated as a young Navy veteran on the GI Bill. The last person to join us is Phyllis Cook. Phyllis Cook has been a force in philanthropy in the San Francisco Bay Area for years. She currently works with the Helen Diller Foundation, and it's a lot of her work and vision and her friendship and relationship with Dick Rosenberg and others that brings her here today, and more importantly, helps bring the resources and the support of the Helen Diller Foundation to making this vision of a veteran center that serves the veterans community at Golden Gate University a reality. So with that, what we hope to do today is have a discussion a little bit again about both the past, the present, and the future of Golden Gate University. And so really, I've got to turn it over first to Dick Rosenberg. As I mentioned, Dick was a young Navy veteran who got out and was in a hurry to get stuff done. And that is clearly what he absolutely did. He, at one point, said that he was going to make the most of his GI Bill, and he did. And he did it at Golden Gate, and then moved on to a stellar career that has put him in a position to be a champion for this university up through today. So, Dick, I don't want to steal your thunder because you have such a great story, great legacies to tell. Can we just start, and could you tell us a little bit about your history with Golden Gate and your journey to this institution?
Well, as you said, you've stolen much of the thunder, but I had heard of Golden Gate because one of the really remarkable things about the university was that at a time when it was extremely difficult at bases across the world for active duty individuals to get an education, Golden Gate was establishing, if you might call them quasi-campuses or mini campuses under the vision of a really remarkable president, and although we're all impressed with David, the fact is Otto was extraordinary in having that vision of establishing quasi mini bases across the world for the education of active duty military people who ultimately would become veterans.
Though, Dick, I do want to engage a little bit more in that, because the thing about your story is that it resonates with the challenges that veterans face today. You know, a lot of them have gotten out, and as we've heard in the previous days, many of them are trying to maximize, their GI Bill, and they're really looking for a flexible institution where they can put together, something that's really tangible and useful. Now, you got a couple degrees from GGU. Can you tell us why you came back and pursued the law? And we've got a couple minutes, so I know that all of us would love to hear a little bit more about that story and how it kind of launched you on the career it did?
Well, the master's degree in business was what I really wanted. The law degree was the excess GI Bill money that was still around for me. And so I said, gee, I can't waste this. So I enrolled in the law school.
And for those, again, I encourage everyone to look up Dick Rosenberg's full bio. But for the veterans in the audience, one of the things it demonstrates is, as many of you are juggling with, it's the ability to manage a full-time job, an education, and often a family. And so for those of you who are struggling with that now, know that, right, it's not a new story, and that Dick Rosenberg tackled it a couple decades ago, and in fact was able to use what he found at GGU not only to find success, but to then go on and build what became one of the largest banks in the United States. What we're fortunate here today as well to turn to a great friend of Dick Rosenberg and Phyllis Cook. For those of you who don't know Phyllis Cook, she's been, again, a guiding force in philanthropy in the San Francisco area for a long time, did tremendous work with the Jewish Community Endowment Fund, has known Rich Rosenberg for a long time, and now works with the Helen Diller Foundation. And we're fortunate to have that relationship and for her to agree or to see some of the potential that we're trying to achieve with the Helen Diller Center here at Golden Gate. Phyllis, I'd like to turn it over to you. If you could just tell us a little bit about the Helen Diller Foundation for people who might not be familiar with it, and maybe talk a little bit about the philosophy that the Helen Diller Foundation and yourself bring to how you approach philanthropy, and kind of what led you to this project at Golden Gate.
So first, it's a privilege to be here today with all of you, and I would say that the Helen Diller Foundation, which has more than one foundation now, and one of the foundations, Richard Rosenberg, is a distinguished member, the Helen Diller Family Foundation. And Dick and I went back many years, but in my role at the Federation, Jewish Community Federation Endowment Fund, Dick Rosenberg was a chairman. And if you know, in all of work, but particularly in the nonprofit world, the leader that you work with makes all the difference in the world. And it's a terrific partnership. So I think that what will be happening at Golden Gate University at the Veterans Center and having the kind of mentorship and support in partnership with the students is a comparable kind of partnership. Because I think every leader and every individual having a person with you, working with you and giving you honest input and support is fantastic. So Richard gave that to me in my role and happened to bring to the attention of the Diller Foundation through me this opportunity at Golden Gate University. The Helen Diller Foundation has a focus on health, on science and education and the arts. And they have been major funders globally in the Jewish community as well. The interest in the foundation is they have funded deeply in institutions such as University of California at Santa Cruz and at Berkeley, and certainly and very deeply at University of California at San Francisco in science and health. But Sanford and Helen Diller were Bay Area natives, and they wanted to give back very much of all their success to the community. And although they are no longer alive, their daughter, who is the current president of the foundation, wanted to also when we learned of this opportunity through Richard Rosenberg, do something for the community. And she could think of no better way than the military veterans who particularly want to add to their education and move on in life. So it seemed a perfect fit, matching some of the other contributions that the foundation has made to the community. I would say also that when Mr. Rosenberg presented this, we saw in it the possibility of having someone like Jason Dempsey at the head. And I would say leadership always matters, and we look for that. So when there is someone who's a possible gifted leader who would stay with us and will lead this program, was a big influence on all of us.
Well, that's great. And I know we appreciate everything that the Helen Diller Family Foundation has done. And I tell you, it's there's probably a good goal there, right? If we can take just a couple of the veterans currently going through, and if they can have the impact that Dick Rosenberg had, going forward, I think it'll be a tremendous success. With that, I'd like to turn it over a little bit to Dr. David Fike, again, who needs no introduction for this audience as the president of Golden Gate University. Dr. Fike, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for your support to this initiative and this endeavor thus far. I guess for the audience here, in terms of what we're launching, could you tell us a little bit about I guess your personal journey to Golden Gate and your experience in terms of finding out that Golden Gate had such a rich history with military students and veterans?
Sure. Yeah, Jason, thank you. And I want to echo thanks and gratitude to both Dick and Phyllis for your support of this initiative. And Dick has just been such a tremendous mentor for me since I arrived at the university almost a half dozen years ago now. My journey here was, I was very excited to be able to come back to the San Francisco area and be part of Golden Gate University. I've spent more than 3 decades in higher education, often in liberal arts institutions. I was working with larger public institutions. But the idea of being able to come to an institution like Golden Gate, who is so squarely focused on the idea of promoting career advancement, promoting the ability for students to take practical applied skills in business, law, accounting, and being able to apply them immediately to advancing their careers, and doing that in a way that's accessible in terms of the way we deliver our programs, affordable, really about the ROI on the investment that our students are making, was very, very exciting to me, because Golden Gate has always been a leader and an innovator in that realm. So from a professional point of view, it was very exciting for me because I could see the trends in higher education, and I could see the opportunity that Golden Gate had to really expand its influence in higher education by setting the standards and developing models that others will seek to emulate. On a personal level, it was also very exciting because my father's a graduate of Golden Gate University. And he came, interestingly enough, given what we're talking about here, to Golden Gate University in the night law school, same as Dick. And he came also on the GI Bill. So for me, the confluence of factors, what Golden Gate is doing as a model for higher education institutions around the country, what this program, with the partnership and support of the Helen Diller Family Foundation, is going to be able to show for the country what we can do for veterans. And of course, having the very near and dear to my heart connection with my father's experience here has all made this just a tremendous labor of love.
Well, that's great. I guess the question I'd want to leave all you with as we wrap up all of our presentations on Golden Gate University, where it is, and where the new Helen Diller Center for U.S. military veterans can take it is, for you, what's success? What means that this investment in the veteran community has been worth it? Or what do you hope to see, 5 to 10 years from now? What do you hope to see from the veteran community and from the next generation of veteran graduates from Golden Gate? And if we could, I'd love to hear each of your thoughts on that. We'll go back in reverse order. So, Dr. Fike, your thoughts on a future vision or what it means to be successful?
Well, as we say often here at Golden Gate, it's all about the students. And so success for us is the transformational experience that veteran and military connected students will have at Golden Gate. And as a result of this partnership with the Helen Diller Family Foundation, the ability to provide the types of coaching, nurturing, helping veterans and military connected students to navigate their educational pathways, to transform their lives, to enhance the opportunities for them and their families, and to bring what they bring in terms of a commitment to leadership and service in the community. and through that to transform the communities in which they live and serve. That I think fundamentally is where we all are aspiring, and what has us, jumping out of bed in the morning and doing the work that we do. From a center or institutional perspective, I really think there's the opportunity here, as I alluded to in my earlier comments, to develop the type of a model that puts Golden Gate in the position that it was under the leadership of President Otto Butz, of being among the most premier, if not the premier institution in the country for veteran and military connected students. And I think with this partnership, that's a real achievable goal, and it's one that we are working hard at every day to make a reality.
Thank you, David. We much appreciate the vision. Phyllis, for you, in terms of, the Helen Diller Foundation has a whole universe of causes to choose from and to invest in. And so from your perspective, what does success mean, and what kind of return on investment, and what do you hope most for this center over the next 5, 10, 15 years?
I would say first that Golden Gate University is in the Bay Area where the family came from, so I think that's an influence. But most of all, Golden Gate has the capacity to set a standard of excellence for veterans education globally in the Otto Butz vein of being able to be an example of the excellent digital education that's available, the mentorship support that you are hoping to give each veteran, and the digital community for the veterans to have themselves to support each other. The ability to sensitize the faculty to what the veterans' needs are. All of these individual aspects influenced us in thinking this is a good bet. This is a good bet because we hope that there are schools that we're aware of that do not produce what the veterans really need. So we wanted excellent quality. If there's anyone who really deserves this, it's the veterans. So we're hoping for a great center of excellence. And again, the leadership promises that. And that's in a way, when you give money where you're giving it to individual people to deliver. And we think that this is a very good risk.
Phyllis, we certainly appreciate the vote of confidence. And of course, we all have big shoes to fill. It is ideally, they said success probably means that we create another generation of Richard Rosenbergs who are out reshaping not only San Francisco industry, but national industry. And so, Dick, I'd like to turn it over to you to have the last word. And, as the one who kind of led the way in your own personal journey from Golden Gate and created such a fantastic professional career to full circle now helping endow and support, this next generation of veterans. For you, I guess, what does success look like for Golden Gate and the veterans community?
Well, I think both Phyllis and Dr. Fike have almost said it all, but I think both of them sort of used a word that is probably should still be at the forefront of Golden Gate, which is practical. And practical means that there is clearly something in this community for these veterans. One of the sad things I used to see when I was still on active duty was people being discharged from the military with no real skills, and they'd given it up to serve in the military. So practical is very important, and I think Golden Gate has always demonstrated that. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you a little anecdote that when I was at Wells Fargo, we used to recruit across. Wells Fargo at that time was the standard in the United States. That unfortunately is no longer true, but the fact is that we used to recruit at Harvard and Yale and Stanford but the first thing we did when those people came was to send them for 3 weeks to Golden Gate's accounting school, because they had to learn the real world, not accounting theory, not accounting concepts, but that cash is the only thing that really counts after you get all through with all your accounting. So I think that practical approach is something that I think Golden Gate can still benefit by going forward in the future, and that's where I think it can have a huge impact on veterans coming out of the service.
Well, thank you. I think that does it. It highlights both the needs of veterans and the strength of Golden Gate University. So I think it's a tremendous match, and it's a tremendous legacy, as demonstrated by all of you here today. To close this out, I just want to say again, Richard, we appreciate your legacy. We appreciate your example and all you've done to continue to support Golden Gate. Phyllis, we're ultimately thankful for your work with the Helen Diller Family Foundation in making this a reality and improving the lives of so many across San Francisco. And Dr. Fike, for your leadership in helping put this together. I think we're all very excited about what the future holds, and we're ready to create the next generation of great veteran students who will both lead and build going forward. So with that, thank you everyone for your time. And just like that, we're back, but we're also done. Want to thank everyone for joining us. Really enjoyed the conversations today, both with Richard Rosenberg and Phyllis Cook, as well as the earlier panel with Ikram and Catherine. I truly enjoyed both of those conversations. We're wrapping up today, and I'll turn it over in a second to Dr. Fike for the last word, but I want to say to everyone who joined, thank you for joining. And oh, by the way, this isn't the end. It's been 3 days of events and talking, but we're nowhere near done. As we said, we're just beginning. So please find the GGU Military Facebook page, join the conversation. If you have comments, if you have input or feedback about the services that we need to roll out to take care of the veteran community at Golden Gate, reach out and let us know. We're excited to start this endeavor, and it's truly an honor both to carry on Richard Rosenberg's legacy, but to be joined in that by Dr. Fike, whom I'll turn it over to for the last word.
Thanks so much, Jason. I really want to thank you and the staff of the Diller Center for all the work that you've put into getting us to this point, this exciting launch, and for putting together this event itself. And thank you, everybody, for joining and learning more about the exciting work ahead of us. I'm so excited about being able to connect. This 3 days of work has really brought about clarity around how this effort today to serve military-connected students and our veterans connects so deeply to the history at GGU. And we heard about the work of Otto Butts. It was wonderful to be on the panel with Dick Rosenberg and hear about his stories and the legacy that he personifies around veterans at GGU. And then, to move into the present day and to meet the members of the leaders of the Diller Foundation, who were just so grateful for the partnership and support, very excited about what we're going to be able to deliver with you all. And it's all 3 days, being able to connect with the people here at GGU. I'm just so impressed and grateful for the engagement and commitment of our students, our staff, our faculty, many of the people that you've met here these 3 days of our activity. So looking forward to you veterans coming to GGU and being able to meet many of these individuals live and in person. And when you do so, you're going to be able to connect with this set of services that are being developed and delivered through the Diller Center. I thought the panel earlier this hour with Ikram and Catherine was just marvelous. It just really brought together so much of what we're talking about here, and putting together a hub that's going to be able to be a place where you can get your questions answered, questions related to your programmatic choices, to your career, to how it integrates with great organizations like Vets in Tech, and how can you best leverage your benefits. So wonderful that you joined us for these 3 days, and we're looking forward to meeting you live and in person at GGU.